Can 1 week truly change your life, especially when it's about learning, a whole new skill like speaking English? Honestly, when I first stumbled upon this account, I was pretty skeptical myself. But today, we're taking a deep dive into this really incredible personal story, someone's 7-day English speaking transformation journey. And it's a journey that, well, it started with a lot of nervousness, just buried under it. But amazingly, it ended with them feeling like, and this is their quote, a completely different person after only 7 days.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating to think about, isn't it? How such a really condensed period could lead to that kind of profound shift. And the core question we'll be exploring today is exactly how that transformation happened. What are the sort of universal principles maybe hidden in this specific journey? Principle that can help us overcome our own learning hurdles. It really seems to boil down to uncovering the huge power of tiny, consistent steps.
Absolutely, tiny steps. So our mission today really is to unpack the specific things they did each day. The mindset shifts, which seem subtle but were clearly powerful, and those surprising revelations from this intense 7-day period. We want to show you how it all came together, how it resulted in this big confidence boost, and crucially, maybe provide a kind of practical roadmap for your own learning goals, whatever they might be. Okay, so how exactly did this person go from, real trepidation to, well, triumph in just 1 week? Let's dive into the specifics, day by day. Starting right at the beginning, the person in our source material, they admitted, when I started this challenge, I was so nervous. You can almost feel that fear coming off the page, can't you? On day 1, their voice was, and I quote, literally shaking. Just managing to say good morning to a stranger, that first step, that initial hurdle, wow, it must have felt enormous.
Oh, absolutely. That act of just breaking the inertia. No matter how small the action seems, that's often the biggest part of forming any new habit or learning a skill. It's really the act of showing up when, every part of you kind of wants to retreat.
Yeah, showing up. And then it gets even more interesting, maybe a little weirder. On day 2, they actually stood in front of a mirror talking to themselves, and they openly admitted, I felt so silly. I mean, who hasn't felt a bit ridiculous talking to their reflection, right?
Right. It feels completely unnatural at first, a bit embarrassing even if no one's watching.
Yeah, but it seems like that very awkwardness, that feeling silly, that might be a key part of the breakthrough.
Pushing through that discomfort zone.
Then day 3 was a bit of a shift, more structured maybe. They started a vocabulary notebook, committing to just 5 new words a day. Not 50, not 100, just 5. From a learning science view, why is that just 5 so powerful? Why not push for more like we usually think we should?
Well, that's a fantastic question. Because it really cuts against our usual instinct, doesn't it? The go big or go home idea. The power of just 5 is all about the low barrier to entry. It fosters consistency over sheer intensity. It really taps into the whole concept of micro habits, where small, almost effortless actions become ingrained, nearly automatic. When you set a goal that's easily achievable, like learning just 5 words, you're building a routine that feels sustainable. It lowers the mental effort needed, the resistance you feel to just starting. Essentially, you're making the act of learning so simple that it's hard to say no to doing it.
Right. It's like you can't not do it. And that low barrier, it really does seem to make all the difference here. So by day 4, they were whispering sentences to themselves in public. Still uncomfortable, yeah, but definitely progressing from day 1's shaking hello.
Okay, so a step up from the mirror. Still quiet, but out there in the world, sort of.
Exactly. And day 5 brought this really critical realization for them. Listening is just as important as speaking. It wasn't just about output, but actively taking stuff in too.
That's a key insight in language learning. Active listening, understanding context, rhythm, pronunciation. It feeds the speaking part.
For sure. And then finally, on day 6, the big one, they had their first mini conversation with a shopkeeper.
And that progression. Wow. From a shaking good morning to even a basic interaction with a shopkeeper in 6 days. It just perfectly shows how these small, consistent actions build cumulative confidence. Each uncomfortable step, even if it feels minor at the time, it adds a brick to the foundation of that new skill. It's not about one single grand gesture. It's those incremental daily efforts that truly shift things. The combined effect of those just 5 words each day, the quiet whispers, it's way bigger than you'd initially think.
Looking back at this whole account, it's genuinely kind of hard to believe how much changed for this person in just 1 week. Like they said, they were still not perfect, definitely not fluent, but they felt more alive, more confident, and a little proud. And who wouldn't be? And that really brings us to the core lesson they took away from it all. Here's the direct quote from our source, and it's simple but really hits home. Progress comes from tiny steps repeated every day.
And that's precisely it, isn't it? The transformation wasn't really about achieving perfect English in 7 days. That's unrealistic. It was purely about consistently showing up, even when it felt awkward, even when it was challenging. There's such a liberating power, I think, in letting go of that need for perfection. When you just remove that immense pressure to perform flawlessly, you free yourself up to just do and to engage and to learn organically from the whole process, mistakes and all. It completely flips the script from, oh no, don't make mistakes, to simply just try.
Right. And that leads directly to the key tip they offered, specifically for you, the listener. They said, don't think about 30 days or 1 year. Just say, I will speak English for the next 7 days no matter what. That laser focus on a short, manageable time frame. It seems incredibly effective.
It absolutely is. That kind of short-term, high-commitment approach, it completely bypasses that overwhelming feeling you get with huge long-term goals. By focusing on just 7 days, the goal feels tangible. It feels immediate, and it creates what psychologists sometimes call a rapid feedback loop. Each small daily victory isn't just a step forward. It's like an instant little hit of dopamine. It reinforces the habit, fuels your motivation to keep going. It's this faster sense of accomplishment that helps bypass that common problem with long-term goals, where the results feel too far off to keep the effort up. You genuinely do surprise yourself by the end of the week, partly because you didn't let yourself get bogged down thinking about the distant finish line.
It's incredibly motivating to hear that perspective. And like they shared in their journey, if I can do this, so can you. They really emphasized that they were just a normal person, not an expert, just someone who got nervous, made mistakes, and sometimes even felt like quitting. That relatability, I think that's what makes this story so powerful, don't you think?
I completely agree. That insight, the idea that the moment you stop worrying about being perfect and just try, you start to grow. That's a universal truth. It stretches so far beyond just learning a language. It applies to starting a new hobby, tackling a tricky project at work, pursuing pretty much any personal goal you might have. Often it's the fear of imperfection that just paralyzes us, right? Keeps us from even starting. But as this journey clearly shows, the real growth, the actual transformation, it begins when you embrace the messy, imperfect process of just trying.
Yeah. So we really want to encourage you listening right now to give yourself that chance. Whether it is learning a language or starting that project you've been putting off or tackling some deeply personal goal, maybe take a page from this individual's book. Try applying this powerful principle of tiny, consistent steps. Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's quickly recap the amazing journey we've looked at. In just 7 days, this person went from being scared to say hello to actually having a short conversation with the shopkeeper. Incredible. The main lesson, say it with me, consistency is far, far more powerful than perfection.
That's the mantra.
And the really powerful tip they offer, set your own 7-day challenge for whatever goal you have in mind.
And, the journey we just explored, it kind of hints at the next stage, doesn't it? They mentioned leveling up by asking and answering questions on day 8. That suggests an even deeper engagement. And this raises, I think, an important question for you, our listener. What small, consistent action, if you took it daily for just 7 days, what action could lead to your next level up? Surprising even yourself, maybe, with the confidence you gain. Something to think about.
The experience and the feeling